Hello, and welcome to this episode of the CAPS Conversation Series. I'm Brendan Mitchell, and on this episode we have Abdulaziz Alghifaili, an IT and business development expertise person. Now, welcome.
Thank you very much, Brendan, for having me.
Oh, thank you for participating in this. I know that you've got a huge amount of information and experience to share with us. Now, you obviously bring a wealth of experience and knowledge to organisations. But let's go through your educational background. Did you grow up in Riyadh?
I did actually grow up in Riyadh. Let me give you my story in brief. So I was born in Riyadh and I went to public school in Riyadh. So I don't come from the private schools at all. And the school I went to was called Al Abna. I'm not sure if it's still here. It's around the corner. It's not really far away from this location.
So in Malaz, yes?
And it's in Hayr Wazarat. So what was really unique about the school, we did not have classes, or like I don't really sit in a class for the 12 hours, for the 6 hours or 7 hours. We move from a class to a class. So the teacher class, or the math teacher has his own class. We go to him at the time when we have math. The English teacher has his class, and we move from the math teacher class to the English teacher's class. So we spent a lot of time moving from class to class. So it taught us the sense of responsibility at that time. So that was really unique. That was only in the high school. So basically grade 10, 11, and 12. That was like a ram-up experience.
What size were the classes in high school?
Depends from I think grade to grade, but as far as I remember, it was a long time ago.
You're still young.
I'm still young, right?
Yes.
It's around, I think, less than 30, so 28, 27, 25.
Okay, good class sizes.
You see the whole school is shaking at the time of changing classes because lots of students are moving from class to class, so that was a really good experience.
And was it a multi-level building as well?
It was 2 buildings, I remember, the ground floor and the first floor.
And the first floor. Yeah. Now, what subjects and teachers motivated you during your K-12 schooling?
All of them.
Really?
I am a science guy. I really enjoyed science. I enjoyed math. I enjoyed chemistry, biology. Those are the subjects that I really liked. The subjects that I didn't really enjoy that much were reading, Arabic. English was fun. Poems. I really enjoyed poems a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arabic poems?
Arabic poems, it wasn't really my thing at all. Not even Shakespeare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did your love of math and science subjects lead to you wanting to be in IT?
Yes, it did. So if you look at the curriculum here in Saudi and most of the universities in the world, when it comes to computer science, a lot of it is math and logic. They teach you how to solve algorithms, actual problems in life, and a lot of it is math and logic. So that's why I chose to study computer science.
And the Saudi K-12 education system is strong in teaching those subjects.
Yes, true indeed. And you can see that on the results of students applying for business schools and science schools and their masters when they go to the US. So basically every college or every admission requires a test like the GMAT, and there's another one for science, I forgot the name of it, but anyways, yeah, for the GMAT thing. So basically it's a language, which is English, and then you have the science or the math part. So you'll see a lot of students, especially the Saudi students, score really high in math, and when it comes to linguistics or the language part, it's much lower. So I assume that we relatively, to compare to other neighboring countries, we score high in math.
Yes. Now, if we come back to that side of things, I know a number of the universities here require students to take a prep year or foundation program before entering their major area of study, which yours was IT at King Saud University.
Yep.
Did you need to study a preparation year program?
At my time, no, because I graduated from high school in 2000 and I started studying in 2000. So the only school that had the prep here was King Fahd University of Petroleum and Mineral, and King Saud it wasn't there at all. So I started directly with the program with other prep school. They changed the program, I think maybe 5 or 6 years later. I don't exactly. I don't remember that. Yeah. And my program was 5 years, and it got shortened to 4 years. So I was.
That's because you're a fast track student. I'm not surprised if they shortened it because of your abilities.
No.
No?
Yeah.
Never know. I know people at King Saud University. I might have to give them a call and find out.
Right?
Yep. Say, okay, was it because
How terrible he was,
was it because of Abdulaziz's extreme efforts that you decided to shorten it? Now, upon graduation, you worked as a software engineer, but soon after you moved into business development role. How did this career move eventuate?
So I was lucky to work with one of the biggest local companies in Saudi that is called Advanced Electronics Company, AEC. And I was hired to work in the development, back at that time it used to be called the Research and Development Department. So basically we do a small research and then we work on a development on that idea or concept. Why I shift from let's say development or software development to business, I saw a trend of the multinational companies setting up here in Saudi. A lot of those companies are more into business development and sales. So that's why I really wanted to shift my career from being into or doing software development to business development. And if you ask me, do I regret actually working from the beginning or taking a software development role at the beginning? No, not at all. I think I made the right decision to have some hands-on experience on the job, writing code, and then it's really good to move to the business side of the IT. So that's basically it.
Yeah, you've got the content and technical knowledge and expertise to support it.
Yep.
And I know some of the organisations you've worked for, and they've benefited greatly from you as a person, and
I hope so.
And the clients that you've worked with have benefited from your knowledge and expertise. Now, you speak excellent English. Prior to going to the United States to study an MBA, did you already have a very good grasp of English, or did you need to study English there?
I had basic English, so when I was in kindergarten, my mom sent me to a British kindergarten school, and I studied there for I think 1 year or 2 years, and then I went to public school. At that time, public schools, they don't really teach English unless you're in grade 7, right?
Yeah,
so
intermediate.
So I totally forgot my English. I used to speak only English in the house with the helper, with my mom. My mom used to be an English teacher, and at the British kindergarten. Then in public school I forgot all the language because it's all in Arabic, and then I started picking up my language again on grade 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 till 12. And then I remember that I suffered at the first year of university because we did not have the prep school and all the books were in English. And I remember that I used a lot of my parents' time to go through the books with me and help them, or making them, or asking for their support to help me with the translation. They did that for the first 2-3 months, and then after that they said you have to be by your own and use your own translation. It was very hard at the beginning, shifting or reading a book in grade 12 and reading a book in IT in the first year of university. I went through that transformation. I learned the technical language at King Saud University, the IT language. And then I started writing emails in English at my first work, so that was really good. When I went to the States, I was really lucky and blessed to have a scholarship from the government of Saudi Arabia. And part of that scholarship is having a 1-year foundation or in English, and I use that. And the reason why I use that, I didn't really go to a program immediately, is if you look at the level of English that I gained was all technical, IT language, communication language. It's not really some other thing, or it doesn't really touch other disciplines. And I remember one of the comments from my English teacher. I remember that very clearly. That she told me that your grammar is good when it comes to writing. I do some mistakes when I speak. Probably sometimes I'm nervous when I'm with someone who is, let's say, a native English speaker. So we tend to do mistakes. It's just out of fear.
No mistakes from you. No fear from you.
A lot of mistakes. And I remember it was very clear. It's very important to focus on other disciplines and learn vocabs from other disciplines, not really just focus on IT and communication. It's good to know some words in biology, some words in medicine, some words in chemicals, some words in chemistry. So that was the challenge when I was there, because really if I do spend some time with people and they talk something completely irrelevant to what I used to work at, or something completely new. I am lost with them. I don't really understand what they talk about. So that's why I spent a lot of time in the US for the first year, just to learn English and be ready to join a university there.
Did you study English at the same university you did your MBA at Suffolk University in Boston?
Not at all. I was in California. I was first. I was in Illinois. I spent 3 months there in an English school, and then I moved to California. And the University of, or in San Diego State University, there was an amazing English school there. I think it's called the English as a Second Language School, or the ALI. And I spent almost a year there, or 6 months, and then I went to the university there, and I studied some business classes with the undergrads. I remember I took an accounting class, an organization behavior class, and there was another class, finance class.
Yes.
And I was lucky to move 2 credits to my MBA program when I moved to Boston. So 3 states in the US, Illinois, and then California, and then Massachusetts.
Yeah, good exposure.
Yep.
What made you choose Suffolk University for the MBA?
I really wanted to be in Boston. Boston is considered to be an educational hub.
Yes.
Great hospitals, the second largest financial district, and I think the best schools are in Boston. Suffolk has great programs, especially when it comes to law degrees. Business is good, it's not that bad. Okay. It's in downtown. I really wanted to be in a school that is in a great location, and in a very friendly place, safe place. That's why I chose Boston.
Now, one of the key aims and goals of the King Abdullah Scholarship Program, as it was called back then, was to increase local capacity and capability within the Saudi workforce. What are some of the key things that you gained from the MBA and in general living abroad that you were able to bring back to your role and perhaps transfer the skills to others? Yeah.
Since I studied business, a degree, I'll be talking about the business aspects of my experience. Probably if you will be interviewing someone who studied science there, let's say computer science or engineering, maybe they'll be covering the skills part of the scholarship. So the things that I really learned there, and I try to transfer back in the country. I've been doing that the past 8 years or 9 years since I moved back to Saudi, is language. I learned the business language there. I was surrounded by so many people who are in the industry, so basically they work during the day, and then when it comes 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, they be attending the classes afternoon, or at night. So I was surrounded by people from the professional or from the industry, people who work. I learned I learned the culture there in the US. I learned punctuality. Before I was really horrible about being in time. Okay. Yeah, it's not a cultural thing. It's just about me.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah. So punctuality, being professional, writing papers. I remember like the way you write papers. Back in the days when I was in high school, we were not taught to write, let's say, a paper in a constructive way. The things that I learned in my writing classes and in university, you start with a thesis, and then you put the first argument, second argument, third argument, then you start with a paragraph, and then you support it with examples, and the second argument, and then you support it with examples, and then you start with the third paragraph and you support it with your arguments, and then you conclude that. In Arabic, no, it wasn't like that at all. So I learned that a lot. It took me so much time to, figure it out. I learned when I write also business emails there that it needs to be short, to the point, use very English, simple terms, stay away from jargon. Those are the things that I really learned in school, and being surrounded by people or employees who work with in multinational companies there.
I know lots of Saudis here have benefited from you and your guidance in your leadership roles.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed when you, after a little while of being back in the Great Kingdom, you moved from a technology companies to an educational company.
Mm-hmm.
What brought that on?
So after moving from AEC, I worked in a multinational company. I really wanted to have the multinational company exposure in my life. So I worked for Oracle, which is an American company, and I was responsible for, basically it was sales, and I was responsible for semi-government and central accounts in Saudi. I was selling them software, basically software, enterprise software. After 2 years there, I moved to Lenovo, which is a Chinese company. I really wanted to work with the Chinese and see the experience of the culture of a Chinese company. And I moved from software to hardware, so basically selling PCs, laptops, desktops, something that is called the backend solutions, enterprise solutions. And basically it's a commodity hardware company. Then I moved to Pearson Education, which is completely different than the two companies that I work for. The reason why I choose Pearson is like the number one education company in the world. It has great minds in the company. I really wanted to surround myself with very smart people. So I was lucky to have that experience, and it's a British company. I wanted to check out the European / the British culture when it comes to doing business. I spent around a year and a half there. Great experience, and then I moved to the government.
Yep, and I know Pearson were very lucky to have you there, and I know where you are now is very, very lucky to have you. Now, just on a closing note, for organisations or perhaps individuals seeking to do business or establish relationships in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you got sort of 3 key points that you could recommend for them. This is your personal opinion.
Yep. So for companies who prefer to do business from outside the kingdom and try to conduct the business from remotely, things don't really work. You can still sell your products and services from outside, but if you really want to grow the business, I think Saudi is the best, or being in Saudi or moving in Saudi and doing business in Saudi in the ground is the right way to do it. If you look at Saudi, it's over 60% of the market share of GCCs in Saudi. It's the largest economy in the Middle East and Africa. The money is here in the region. Very stable company, very stable.
Polite, friendly, very well educated.
Investment friendly too.
Yes, and very safe.
Very safe too, very safe too. So any company that is really looking forward to work in the Middle East, Saudi I think is the best place to start with. Yep.
I'd agree with you too.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's been an honour and a pleasure to have you on this episode, and I thank you for your time, and I hope the viewers have learned and enjoyed it as much as I have. Thank you, Abdulaziz.
Thank you.